coaches and consultants get into this business, and some of them unfortunately buy into the belief that, you can't really make a lot of money. Otherwise, you've got to be this martyr type. There's a difference between serving others and becoming a martyr. It's totally, completely separate. And what that looks like is really coming with the right intention, coming with the intention to help others.
Welcome to the Serve, Love, Lift podcast. I'm Tiffany Garvin. Years ago on a quiet beach in Hawaii, I felt the weight of the pain and struggles we all face in this world and how much we need each other. Soon after, this movement was born to serve, love, and lift. I believe that we are meant to serve the world with our unique gifts, love ourselves and others, and lift each other up to live with joy. This podcast is here to help you heal your heart and your life and empower you on your path to becoming the best version of yourself. I invite you to listen carefully and jot down notes that come to mind, whether they come from me or from your own heart. Then, share this episode with 3 people who you feel could use it today. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get going. Welcome to the Serve, Love, Lift podcast. Today we have a beautiful guest with us. Her name is Carla Cherry. She has produced for Viacom, Yahoo Studios, Comedy Central, and more. She executive produced a show with Larry King that he hosted and garnered lucrative sponsorship deals for the show Versailles with her content, as well as created their after show, which tripled the online engagement for their entire company. So she's really smart and good at what she does. Currently, she's committed to helping coaches and B2B consultants create top brands and land lucrative deals. Her powerful accountability group, or PAG, transforms success-minded business owners into trusted brands, one healthy competition at a time. Welcome, Carla.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So nice to have you here. What a fun life you have led so far.
Thank you. Thank you.
What inspired you to take the leap from television into the coaching and consulting industry?
Well, a lot of things. It was around 2017, and I was working in television. I was in LA. It was a couple things. I was driving 2 hours a day in my car. I had a teenager at home, and those are the 2 main reasons. And also, I just had this fire inside where I wanted to go back to entrepreneurship. I loved creating content, and I love creating for TV. And when I was in the creation mode, the clock could just spin like this and I would know what time it was. But in between jobs, in between shows, there's all this downtime. And when you're working for somebody else, even if you're, working for this really cool brand or top production company, you're still on someone else's clock. You're still on someone else's watch. You still have to answer to, at one point I was answering to 10 executives. There's the glorified side of that. And then there's the I'm still punching a clock side of that. I owned my first company in my 20s, and I really want to go back to having my own time and being my own boss. I was helping people on the side. And I just thought, let me take some time off and just kind of see what this looks like. Once I got my first couple coaching clients, I was off to the races, and for so many reasons, but I'll give you one of, besides being my own boss again, the vibe was so cool. And I didn't expect that. I really didn't see that coming. The vibe for helping somebody with their business and giving them tips and tricks and tools that they didn't have before, that is life-changing, game-changing for them. Just the gratitude that poured in was so different than the vibe for TV, where it's just not, it's not a vibe of gratitude. It was nose to the grindstone, 14 hours. Some definite cool people, but I liked doing a job for somebody or doing work for somebody and them just be so grateful. That was just an experience that I hadn't had in a while. And I really dug it.
Oh, that's great. Did you feel like then you were using your gifts a little bit more fully and feeling more yourself when you got into that space?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the gifts are different, right? So with television, when I created the after show for Versailles, I wrote that in 4 days. I wrote 8 episodes in 4 days. And writing is something I still use in my coaching business. And it's one of the top things that I use. I help clients with their pitch, and I can take their pitch and rewrite it very quickly. And so it's nice to be able to use the gift in two different ways. The after show was all about the fans. So that was cool because there's a lot of people living for that and not living for it. Let me rephrase that. They love the escapism and they need the escapism to get out of their own lives. And so there were people that were like super fans. And that was really, really cool to write for them. I've never done that before. And that was cool. And then for coaches and consultants, when you rewrite someone's pitch, it like literally changes their business. It's like
Right.
suddenly they can sell and get more clients and speak with confidence. And so, it's attached to their livelihood, which is very gratifying.
That's beautiful. So I see. It's just kind of a different way to harness these different gifts inside of you, and what fun to find it in a way that you could express it where you were actually appreciated for the value you were bringing in a more intimate way, right? It hits you at a different spot when you really feel like you're having an impact in someone's life.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, when they go, when they're stuck and they can't sell their stuff, it's a real problem, because coaches and consultants, just like dentists and doctors, get into the business for the thing they're doing. And then there's this whole other side of, oh gosh, now I have to sell. To be able to help someone really convey their value to somebody else, to get it to the person that really needs it, that's very gratifying.
I love it. So what are some guiding principles that you live by, and why?
Guiding principles. Well, I would say in terms of my business, first of all, I'll say this. I found out midway through, I would say, I wouldn't say early on. I wish I had known it early on, but you learn when you learn that your business, as an entrepreneur, as a coaching consultant, your business, when you want to up level your business, you have to up level yourself.
Right.
I definitely figured that out. If you're trying to level up your business and your life is a mess, even if it's a mess in just one area, it is going to spill over into your business. And so I was so grateful when I found a coach that had the courage to say that to me. It was like, this is it. Like you cannot do this. You cannot go up here if you're still a mess down here. And what's really interesting is the mess down here can be in small ways. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you're a total train wreck. It can just be like, I want to get up early. And I've said that for a year now, and I'm still not getting up early. That spills over into your business, whether you make your bed, whether you're eating, in a healthy way, whether you're getting enough exercise, whether you're having enough joy. Like, so all of those things really affect your business. So as far as a principle goes, I'm not sure. It's a great question. Like let's see if I can articulate it.
Well, I think you answered it really well too. I think that was beautifully put.
Okay, good. Good. Cause that's where I'm at, is like, okay, I think a lot of people, when you first start out, like you're just trying to get clients, and then okay, now I want to raise up a little bit and raise my prices and start to specialize. Right. And now once you've got that down, now it's okay, I want to make some real money, some real impact, so that comes after that. And as far as, the principles and of up leveling yourself, that's when that piece really has to kick in.
Absolutely. What have you found that has been some of those keys that hold people back? Some of those, whether it's limiting beliefs or false perceptions of their own worth or their place in the world. What are some of the obstacles you've helped people work through?
Yeah, as far as limiting beliefs, I mean, number one is raising your prices. Coaches and consultants get into this business, and some of them, unfortunately, buy into the belief that you can't really make a lot of money. Otherwise, you've got to be this martyr type. There's a difference between serving others and becoming a martyr. It's totally, completely separate, right? And what that looks like is really coming with the right intention, coming with the intention to help others. And so I practice that in my sales calls. Like my sales call is an audit. I'm going to audit your offer, and whether you go with me or not, you have that. That is yours. That is my gift to you, because that is what someone did for me.
Right.
And it changed my life. And I was like, oh, it is actually possible to come from a service to others. Now, that doesn't mean giving away the farm. It just means here's some things that that you're missing that can really, really help you along your journey. And that's my gift to you. And what that does, actually, it's for the person doing the sales call too, because it takes me off the hook. I don't care if I get the sale or not. I don't have commission breath. I'm not dying for that. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? It creates this atmosphere of guidance where they feel truly guided, and it's relaxed, right? So that it's just a more pleasant experience for everybody all around. And then also takes you off the hook. If I can't help you, I'm going to help you no matter what. I'm going to introduce you to that person. I'm going to send you that email. I'm going to send you that article, whatever you need, right? So in terms of what holds people back, which is your question, is a couple things. One is their value. They are afraid to raise their prices. And a lot of people come out of corporate and they have to unlearn, because it is physically in their body, like the way that they've been trained, right? From a little age, even before corporate, right? All the way from elementary school is you're going for that next check, the check plus, A plus, to get to the next level. Then you got to get the grade to get the next level. And it's just always climbing this ladder. What does that do? That means that you're trying to please somebody outside of yourself, right? It means that you're outwardly focused. And so a lifetime of that, when you you physically remove yourself from that environment, and now you're an entrepreneur, even though you don't have the boss that you have to answer to, there is still a mentality where people are afraid to think for themselves, afraid to act for themselves, afraid to be creative in business, afraid to bring creativity into business. There's this sometimes stuck energy of, can I do that? And it's really fascinating to me, because it's like, you're not in that world anymore, but we're creatures of habit. We learn, right? So it's habitual learning. So we have to literally unlearn that. So that spills into everything. So yes, you can do it how you want. Yes, you can add creativity into your business. Yes, you can think big. Yes, you can charge the prices that fulfill you and sustain you. And as you should, because, people, sometimes coaches don't look at the whole picture, and we've got to look at the whole picture. Okay, what does it cost to live? What does it cost to go on vacation, to buy things for your kids? You really need to factor all that in, so that when you're raising your price, you're going to be able to afford a lifestyle that is comfortable, right? And the price perception, the price value perception goes up for your prospects. As well as, if you raise your price, you're going to have to perform at that level. So you're up leveling yourself, you're up leveling your client's commitment to themselves. So it actually helps everybody, including your family. That's one of the things I would say is charging what you're worth. And I never say that, sorry, not charging what you're worth. Charging what the transformation is worth to them.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah. You're not charging what you're worth. We're infinite beings. You can't put a price on it.
Totally agree.
Right. What is the value of the transformation that you're creating for that person?
Love that.
That is the price. Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it, because then it's not about anyone's individual value. It's separating that conversation of your infinite value as a human being versus your value in the marketplace.
Right. And even like further down, even more nuanced is really what is that person? You're taking them from point A to point B. What is that worth to them? What kind of pain are they in? And if they're not in enough pain, then you haven't found a transformation that's good yet. Like you've got to make sure that the person needs it, wants it, is walking around, having the conversation in their head, it's keeping them up at night. That's where you want to bring transformation. And if the pain point's not that strong, you're not going to be able to sell a high ticket price because then they don't need it. It's got to be something that somebody really needs.
Definitely. What one message would you give the world if you had the
Oh my gosh.
world's ear for 2 minutes or 10, right? What one message would you desperately want people to know?
Oh wow. I mean, the word freedom pops into my mind, which is just freedom, like free, being freedom encapsulates a lot. It's a big word. Freedom to me is being true to yourself, being true to the life you want to live, speaking your truth, living your truth. And that to me is true freedom. And if you're not doing that in any area of your life, you're wasting time. We only have this life that we know of to live. And so, what does it look like? I encourage everyone to really at least expand in your journal and think big on paper, because that's where it happens before it actually happens in life. Anyway, you have to think it before you can step into it. So just think as big as you can for yourself and for your life and whatever area that means. Following your truth. Once you do that, once you have the courage to think big, then all it is the daily actions to get there. So I remember when I was younger, I used to think in such a huge gap between where I wanted to be and where I actually was. And I had some like crazy fictitious thought that like one day I'm just going to stumble into that thing. And then later on in life, I realized, oh no, it's actually just baby steps. It's like literally 3 actions a day. That's it. Take 3 actions a day. If you take 3 actions a day towards any goal, you will achieve it.
I love it. So when you talk about people living their truth, it sounds like what you're encouraging them to do is discover their purpose and live their purpose. Is that right?
Yeah. I think we have multiple purposes because I'm
Sure.
a mom. That was my purpose.
Yeah.
I have, I think we have different purposes at different times of our life and different ways. So it's hard for me to condense it down to like one purpose. And also at one point I wanted to do this and then I wanted to do that. So I think our dial can change for me. Some people come out of the gate, like my daughter's an actress. She came out of the gate at 5. She knew that's what she wanted to do. That's the thing she wants to do. That is it. Like, where's my agent? I'm like, you're 5. I don't even know how you know what that is. Good for her and good for people that know how to do that. That's not me. Like, I am literally like, okay, now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing that, So I don't have like one purpose except for I think live like what feels true to you in this moment maybe is what if I had to boil it down to one purpose, just following your heart and being true to yourself in this moment. Because if you don't, that's where disease comes from. That's where discord and unhappiness comes from if you're not doing that. So yeah, and it can be scary, and it can, people are influenced with the people around them. And the one thing I would say is, be brave enough to write it down and to like sit in meditation and at least think about it, and then write down 3 actions every day that you can do towards it. And then suddenly you're turning that dial.
Yeah, I love it. I think that a lot of us have gone through or are still going through varying levels of questioning about who we are and what that means. And the buzzword of authenticity and vulnerability and all of that can get a little oppressive or confusing at times, because people wonder, well, who am I then? And what am I supposed to do with my life? And what are the possibilities for me? I think I've seen this. Have you noticed people living what they perceive to be their truth, but it's actually the truth from their wounds instead of the actual truth?
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, that gets deep. That gets layered. You want me to speak on that?
If you want to. we can go deep or we can hold back.
Okay. Well, I love it because I think that I love that you say that, because I think that, you've got trauma, everybody has trauma. If you're on this
Yes.
planet, you have some type of trauma. Like
Yeah.
that's what I've come to realize. And that that's just how it is. And so I think that life is layered. So, it's like peeling onions sometimes. And sometimes I'm going through a phase of, okay, I need to work on this one layer. Like it doesn't fit anymore. It's like wearing a coat that it just doesn't fit. Like you got to take it out of the closet. But sometimes it's like hard to just throw it away, so you got to deal with, I got to actually peel this layer off. So I go through seasons of really going into an introspective place, going, okay, I need to do this for self-care right now. Like I need to focus more on inward so that I can literally take off this layer that doesn't fit anymore, because for some reason I can't just rip it off. I've got to like actually do the work, and then boom, go into another season where it's off. And you feel the growth. I don't know if you've ever woken up one day and you're like, whoa, I'm a different person. And it feels like than I was just yesterday. Like, so sometimes growth is fast and sometimes growth is slow.
Yes.
But it's interesting it's such a crazy balance, right? Balance the growth and then also your business and also your family. And so that's why for me, when it's, what is your life's purpose? That stuff used to keep me up at night. I used to trip on it so hard. Like I got to change the world in some massive way. And I think that I'm doing that and that we're all doing that when we're just living our truth in the moment. Mm-hmm. And I think that includes joy.
Yes.
Following your joy. I don't think my truth is me trying to do something really hard. That's me changing the world in a way where I'm forcing it. I think it's following my joy in the moment and going, okay, well, sometimes, my joy's over here. Like you're doing a podcast. Obviously you're getting joy out of that, right? And you're reaching the people that you're supposed to reach in this moment. Right. But it doesn't mean, in my opinion, like you have to be the best podcaster in the world.
Yeah, that's pressure. That's too much pressure.
Right. Exactly. Like I think it can be lighter than that. You know what I mean? It could just be like, oh, wow, this one message landed on this one person that needed to hear it at this exact time. Like that's a miracle.
Yeah. I think it can come down to your intention behind things, right? I mean, the purpose of your life doesn't necessarily have to show up as a certain job or a certain role or a certain experience. It can be the intention behind how you live and how you show up, right? So you show up with service and you want to lift people up and you want to give them more empowerment and joy in their life and their business, right? That's an amazing, beautiful intention. And I think however you show up in your life, whatever phase of life you're going through, whatever purpose you're fulfilling in that moment, that's how you show up because that's your intention. And I think if people consider what's my intention in life, that might be able to lead them to opportunities to fulfill that purpose and variations on that purpose that can bring them joy, right? I mean, the podcast is Serve, Love, Lift. Serve is all about serving the world with your unique gifts because that is fulfilling your purpose in a way. Whatever gifts you've been given, that natural love or that natural desire to lift people up, whatever that is, to me, that's fulfilling your purpose.
Yeah, totally. 100%. And I mean, I think back on creating the show for the fans. There was some 15-year-old girl that thought this boy was cute on the show, and some silly clip that I made her smile that day. Like, that's just as much of serving her as it is
Yes.
serving somebody in a different way. Like, yeah, I think attitude has so much to do with it. 100%. Yeah, for sure.
That's great. So, have you experienced something in your life that was a huge turning point? Whether it was, I mean, like a challenge, like something that was super hard that you overcame, or a profound lesson you learned in your life?
Yeah, I guess I'll just go with the first one that popped in my mind. I had my daughter at 25. This day and age would be considered a young mom. And I'd gone to NYU for film and television, and I found myself back in my hometown with my daughter. And then a couple of years later, a single parent. And I thought my life was crashing down. This was the world. I'm a failure. Like, I thought all my peers from NYU were, famous directors and just like living this glamorous life in LA. And here I was, what did I do? I have squandered it away, and I was working two jobs. My grandmother was helping me, with my kiddo, picking her up from preschool. I would go and have dinner with her and give her a bath. And then I would go to my second job at the news station and work till midnight and, all this. And so that is what actually I said, whatever this is. I think I was making $8.50 an hour in one of my jobs. It was 20 years ago, 20 plus. Yeah. But I was like, this is insane. Whatever I'm going to do as an entrepreneur is going to be better than this. I will sell lemonade. I don't care. And so I started my own wedding business, and I'm, on the coast in a wedding spot. So it worked out, and I worked my butt off. And I had a friend that was an entrepreneur running a multi-million-dollar company that was like, I'm going to come help you. And I was like, that sounds great. Wow. And so she was, do this, and this little things like take your office out of your bedroom. That's not where that belongs. And here's how you hire somebody. And here's how you respond to an email. She changed my life. She's still my friend. She's still a rock star and one of my mentors. Anyway, she changed my life. And so, that kind of planted coaching for future.
Yeah.
Because, you need those little things. They're so small when you know them, but when someone else doesn't know them, they're huge. So anyway, what the turning point was, I was sitting there like feeling so sorry for myself. I'm just a wedding videographer, and my friends are famous and living glamorous lives in LA. Like, this is my brain. And I'm just doing this. And then it's just crazy because when my daughter turned 8, I said, I can't do the small town thing anymore. I'm a big city girl. I've got to go. And I packed up my daughter and got into a U-Haul and drove to LA. I wasn't sure what I was going to do because I was, okay, I'll just do weddings. That's what I'll do. Well, in LA, the margin between like high end and low end there was zero middle. Like, you either go really high or really low, because the middle goes home to get married, right? Nobody in the middle stays in LA. So I hit this point where I was like, I do not want to do high end weddings. That's not, if I see one more person get married, actually I'll die. And so I ran my business for 2 years across country. And then suddenly someone said to me, Carla, this is your skill. You should apply as an editor. And I was like, no, I hate editing. I don't want to do it. I'm done. And they were like, this is your skill. You should apply as an editor. And this is the part where the turning point is. That skill opened up every single job because I was an editor and a writer. I did comedy also. That's a whole other story. I got hired as a writer editor, first as an editor, and I did a bunch of editing jobs. And then I got to do the Think Like a Man 2 promos for Comedy Central. Wow. And then I got to climb up and eventually produce for Larry King. But it was editing that opened up the door. And so I say that to say that when you're in a situation and you have a skill, and this can be anybody, one of the things that you can do is you have that skill, you've honed that skill, you put time into it. And boy, did I put time into that editing. People don't realize these things that you did in your past life, even like years ago, you can bring them forward, and it can be one of your main assets Just because you were doing that thing for something else that you didn't want to do, or for a corporate or for a boss that you didn't like, you still have that skills. You still have that asset.
What a beautiful thing. So sometimes we have maybe hidden gifts, hidden talents that we don't realize are assets that can help us find more joy, find success, solve some of our own problems. But it really is thinking outside of the box, right? Going back into the past of what did I study? What did I used to enjoy? What did I experience before that taught me something powerful? How can I apply that to my current challenge?
100%. And what I want to impart is look at yourself as your main asset. You are your biggest asset.
Yeah.
Like as a coach, as a consultant, as an entrepreneur, you are your biggest asset. Not where you work, not your credits, but you, like your skills, everything that makes up you, you're the biggest asset. So when you go to put together a program or put together your service that you're bringing into the world, think of it as, okay, two things. How can I serve my target client the absolute best way possible? But also, what are the skills that I have? And what do I love doing? Also don't forget the joy factor. What is it that I really love doing? And then what is it that I don't love doing? And get rid of it.
Right.
If there's anything in your whole repertoire that you do not like doing, get rid of it. Now, of course, the admin, you can contract that stuff out. I'm not talking about like the necessary admin stuff. I'm talking about, you're this type of you're a marketing coach. Do you do Facebook ads? If you don't like it, don't do it.
Right.
And here's why is because if you're doing that, it's going to bring you down and it's going to spill over to your clientele. It's going to spill over to your day. My whole thing is creating the most joy, creating the business that you absolutely love every single day, every single client. Like I literally will look through my client list and be like, love her, love her, love her. Like I've gotten to a point, love him, gotten to a point where hanging out with people that I want to hang out with, period. And we get to create that. So that goes back to the unlearning part. You don't have to do anything. I invite everybody to like bring creativity to your business. Utilize these skills if you can, that can help you, if it's aligned with your target client. Right. If it's not, then obviously don't. But if it's something that you're really, really good at and that can really help your target, you get to look at it, like an artist and like a painting and like, okay, what do I want on this canvas? What do I want to bring to it? And what it's going to bring me joy and the massive transformation.
Oh, so many good insights and tips. I love that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So what brings you joy?
Okay. Just like in general in life?
Yeah. I mean, so much of what you talk about in love is bringing the joy in. So what are some of the things? I mean, it doesn't have to be like one main thing, but what are some of the things that you lean into that really bring you joy?
Yeah. So what really brings me joy is, again, owning my own time, making my own schedule, doing what I want to do when I want to do it. That brings me, it's just total freedom. I'm a freedom person. I just
powerful.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And that doesn't mean that I don't work hard. I work really hard, but
oh, sure. You almost have to work harder, it seems, when you're on your own and doing your own thing.
Yeah, to a certain extent, sure.
But it's joyful, right? That saying, if you love what you do, then you never work a day in your life.
100%. I still to this day wake up and I get to make coffee. If I want to drink 10 coffees right now, I'll do it. So joy is to me making my own schedule. My daughter is a really big part of my life. Everybody knows that. So that's my biggest joy. I would say going to the beach.
Me too.
Yeah, I see your walkway right behind you. Literally, that was my day yesterday. Right there, or my weekend. So boating, I love being on a boat. I was on a boat, drove a boat before a car. I love travel. And then these days, it's interesting. I feel like it's changing. Joy to me is to being going all out and just going max to the wall. with whatever I was doing in my off time. And right now, joy is, interestingly enough, is I'm rediscovering structure and the freedom that brings.
Sure.
So, and that comes in terms of schedule, in terms of food, health, exercise. I did 75 hard. Have you ever heard of 75 hard?
I haven't.
It is, and I'm on it again. I'm on my second round of 75 hard. So 75 hard is a program where you work out. It has all these rules, and if you break any of the rules, you have to start over.
Wow.
And so it's working out twice a day for 45 minutes. One has to be outside, can't be back to back. Drink a gallon of water. Stick to a diet, but it can be your diet. And the exercise can be your exercise too. It's whatever you want it to be.
Right.
But you just can't eat like junk food, no sugar, and then no cheat days, no alcohol. You have to take a picture of yourself every day. And you have to read 10 pages of nonfiction. So
nice.
Yeah, you can't do audio. It has to be read. And so 75 days straight. So I did that, completed it. And then of course, after it was over, did a nosedive into the potato chips. And so woo. And so and now I'm back on it, but it's so much easier the second time. And actually, this is probably a good segue into what I'm doing right now, because doing 75 hard, it's so funny. It was called hard and you think of it as this is hard. And yes, it was in the beginning. I did a triathlon during that.
Wow.
I trained.
That's incredible.
And completed my first triathlon. Thank you. Yeah. But what I realized midway through was it's not hard anymore. It's my new set point. I created my new normal. I created a set point and then I rose to the occasion. And so now when I'm doing something hard again, it's not hard at all. This is a set point I created. So I'm doing that with my business. I thought about when I was doing the first 75 hard, what would it look like to do that for my business? And so I'm doing that. This is my new set point. These are the things I do every day, no matter what. I'm literally creating a new program where I'm doing that in my business. Okay, we're going to do these things every day, mandatory, so that we can up level. To circle back around to when we first talked about it in the beginning, is you have to up level yourself at the same time, and that's hard to do alone sometimes. That's the difficulty. So yes, what does that look like if we do that together?
I love it. Community makes things work better. That support system, that like-minded energy, all of the yummy things that come with being in a group of people that are helping you succeed and you can help them succeed. The reciprocal serving is beautiful.
Totally. Yes. And we're doing healthy competition. So, which to me, I always do better when there's a little competition. Even if I'm competing 75 hard, nobody was watching me. Right. I was competing against myself, but knowing that it's a competition is I'm going to win this thing. This is happening, So I'm incorporating that. And it's cool because I think that's where people fall off, is the consistency part, when no one's watching, when, what does it look? You can get going for 3 days, 5 days, and then you fall off. And I still think that content is king, and putting yourself out there and really stretching your voice wherever you want. LinkedIn is where I'm choosing to play these days, because it just makes sense, because it's a strong database, and people are there to do business. So you can just cut through it. I like to just be straight. And so content to me is still king, and reaching out and putting yourself out there like you're doing with the podcast, sending this out into the world, it's just going to come back, right? If you share with the world, it's going to share back. And consistency is the name of the game.
Well, Carla, you are amazing. This has been so much fun. Thank you for your heart, for your generosity with your insights and your inspiring stories. And I'm just so grateful that you would be a guest on the show.
Thank you for having me. This has been so much fun, Tiffany. I really appreciate it. Thank you for asking me. This has been a joy.
So the last bit is yours. What last thought would you like to share with our listeners that can help them feel encouraged and loved and inspired and a little bit stronger to face their world today?
Yeah, I would just feel like if you can, having the courage to live life how you want to live it, right? Having the courage to do what you want to do, specifically with your career, with your job. In the beginning, it looks ugly. It can be messy. It might not make sense to anybody. You may have tried 10 things already and failed, which, at one point I tried to sell a pet bed. I did the drop shipping thing pet bed. Went through that phase. And I had, all my friends, what are you doing now? What's the new idea? If you can just get through that noise, right? And continue, because it's never like I've landed. I don't feel like now I've landed. This is it. I'm just on this part of the journey. But I think if you follow your heart and stay true to yourself and just can live your truth, right? Whatever, it brings so much freedom with the hard work. You got to put the work in, there's no getting around that, but it brings so much freedom. And to me, at the end of the day, it's peace of mind. It's like, I'm going to sleep. I don't stay up all night on Sundays, like dreading Monday. The payoff is there. And if you can pat yourself on the back and say, good job for every little thing that you do every day that's taking a step towards really living your truth and just being your true self, you're winning. And even if nobody notices, right? You're winning.
Thank you so much. So how can people connect with you? People that have been inspired by you and want to stay connected. LinkedIn, right?
That's the best way, is find me on LinkedIn, and it's Carla Cherry.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Carla.
What a pleasure. Have a great day.
Thank you for being with me. Remember to share this episode with 3 people who you feel could use it today. Don't want to wait for next week for new insights and wisdom? Go to www.tiffanygarvin.com/emotional healing for a free guide to help you begin healing the emotional wounds that are holding you back. Again, the link is tiffanygarvin.com/emotional healing. It will be in the show notes as well. I believe in you. See you next week.